Good morning, everyone. I want to tell you a story about a woman. Let's call her Sarah. Sarah is 36 years old. She wakes up early, gets ready for work, and goes through her day. She does her job well. She's respected by her colleagues. And at the end of the day, she comes home to a quiet apartment. She makes dinner, maybe watches a little TV, scrolls through social media, and then goes to bed. And tomorrow, she'll do it all over again. Sarah has no close friends. Now, some of you might think, well, maybe she prefers it that way, and that's possible. But I'm not talking about people who genuinely enjoy solitude. I'm talking about something different. I'm talking about the kind of loneliness that sneaks up on you, the kind that wasn't planned or chosen. Sarah didn't wake up one day and decide, I don't need friends. It just happened. She got busy. She focused on her career. Maybe she had some friendships that faded. Maybe she was hurt in the past and convinced herself it was safer to keep people at a distance. Maybe she just stopped putting in the effort, assuming that friendships would just happen naturally. And one day she looked around and realized she was alone. The silent epidemic of loneliness. Sarah's story isn't. In fact, it's more common than we think. Loneliness is on the rise, and not just for people in their later years. Studies show that younger generations, people in their 20s, 30s, and 40s, are reporting higher levels of loneliness than ever before. Think about that for a second. We live in the most connected time in human history. We have smartphones, social media, group chats. We can reach anyone, anywhere, at any time. And yet loneliness is at an all-time high. How is that possible? Because connection isn't the same as community. Having 500 followers on Instagram doesn't mean you have real friends. Being in a group chat doesn't mean you have someone to call when you're struggling. You can be surrounded by people and still feel utterly alone. The biology of friendship. Let's talk about something fundamental. Why do we need friends in the first place? Human beings are social animals. We are wired for connection. It's not a luxury, it's a necessity. Our brains release oxytocin, the bonding hormone, when we have deep, meaningful interactions with people we trust. And when we don't have those connections, our stress levels go up, anxiety increases, our bodies go into survival mode because from an evolutionary perspective, being alone meant danger. In ancient times, being isolated from your tribe could mean death. Today, it just means feeling lost, disconnected, unseen, but the effect is the same. Chronic loneliness has been linked to higher risks of heart disease, depression, anxiety, and even early death. In fact, research suggests that loneliness has the same impact on mortality as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Let that sink in. That means that loneliness isn't just an emotional struggle, it's a health crisis. Why are we so lonely? So why do so many people, especially women like Sarah, find themselves without deep, meaningful friendships? There are a few reasons. We live in a culture that celebrates being busy. We wear it like a badge of honor. How have you been? Oh, busy. But here's the problem. Meaningful relationships take time. They require us to slow down, to check in, to prioritize people over tasks. And when we're constantly caught up in work, responsibilities, and obligations, friendships start to slip away. Not because we don't care, but because we don't make the time. Let's be honest, making friends as an adult is hard. As kids, it was easy. We made friends on the playground, at school, through shared activities, but as adults, it requires effort. It requires us to be vulnerable, and that's scary. We don't want to be the one who reaches out and gets rejected. We don't want to be the one who says, hey, I'd love to get to know you better, only to hear silence in return. So instead, we stay guarded. We convince ourselves we don't need close friendships. We keep conversations light, avoid deep connections, and over time, we build walls instead of bridges. And then there's social media. Social media tricks us into believing we're connected. We see people's highlights, the vacations, the celebrations, the perfect selfies, and we assume they have it all together. Meanwhile, we're sitting at home alone, comparing our reality to someone else's curated version of life. The truth is, many of those people posting happy photos are feeling just as lonely as we are. They're just better at hiding it. How do we change this? So what do we do about it? How do we build real, meaningful friendships in a world that makes it so easy to be alone? Here are 3 things. 1, choose to show up. Friendship doesn't happen by accident, it happens by choice. It happens when we make an effort, when we send that text, when we invite someone to lunch, when we show up. Not just when it's convenient, but consistently. It's not about grand gestures, it's about the little moments. Checking in, remembering birthdays, asking, how are you, and actually listening to the answer. 2, be the friend you wish you had. If you feel lonely, ask yourself, am I being the kind of friend I want in my life? Are you reaching out? Are you making an effort? Are you showing up for others the way you wish someone would show up for you? Because friendship is a two-way street. It's not just about finding people, it's about being someone worth finding.
3, let people in. And finally, we have to be willing to be vulnerable. We have to be willing to say, I need people in my life. We have to be willing to reach out, even when it's uncomfortable. Because the strongest people aren't the ones who never need help. The strongest people are the ones who know that needing people is what makes us human. Final thoughts. If you know a woman like Sarah, reach out to her. Don't assume she's fine. Invite her to coffee. Ask her how she's really doing. Be patient. And if you are Sarah, if you feel alone, know this: you are not broken. You are not unworthy of connection. But you do have to take that first step. Because life isn't meant to be lived alone, and the good news, you don't have to do it alone. Thank you.